Rayan had everything a man could ask for: wealth, power, and status. From a young age, he worked tirelessly to build his empire, convinced that success meant accumulating more money, more recognition, more possessions. He lived in a world where luxury was his reality and the struggles of others felt distant, almost irrelevant. He rarely thought about charity, about the less fortunate. He would walk past beggars without a second glance, considering them a burden on society. They should work harder, he would say to himself, dismissing their struggles as laziness. But Rayan's heart had become blind to the blessings he had, blind to the test that wealth truly was. One evening, after sealing yet another million-dollar deal, he leaned back in his chair, staring out at the vast city skyline. He felt invincible, untouchable. But that night, everything changed. That night he had a dream, so vivid, so real, that it shook him to his core. In his dream, he found himself in a place unlike any he had ever seen. The sky was dark, yet the ground beneath him was ablaze, flickering with an eerie glow. The air was thick, heavy, suffocating. He looked around, searching for something, someone, anything familiar. But all he saw were endless rows of people, their faces twisted in pain, their voices crying out. He tried to move, but his feet felt bound. Then a voice called out, a voice unlike any he had heard before, powerful yet calm, stern yet sorrowful. "Rayan, do you know where you are?" Panic rose in his chest. He turned, trying to find the source of the voice, but there was no one, only darkness. "This is the day you turned away from, the day when wealth will be of no benefit, the day when a man will flee from his brother, his mother, his father, his own soul." Rayan trembled. "No, this can't be real," he whispered. But the voice continued. "What did you do with the wealth you were given?" His mind raced. His wealth. He had earned it. It was his. He had worked for it, built it from nothing. Surely that was enough. But then the faces appeared, one by one, faces of those he had ignored. The old man by the masjid he never helped, the single mother struggling to feed her children, the orphan who had stretched out his hand only to be turned away. Their eyes pierced through him, their voices echoed in his ears. A weight fell upon Rayan's shoulders, heavy and unbearable. He wanted to run, to escape, but there was nowhere to go. Then a book appeared before him, his book of deeds. Its pages fluttered open, revealing every moment of his life, every transaction, every missed opportunity to do good, every time he had chosen wealth over kindness, arrogance over humility, and then silence. The darkness deepened, the fire rose, and suddenly Rayan felt his wealth slipping away. His money, his houses, his power, everything melted into nothingness. He was left alone, helpless, terrified. And then he woke up. His heart pounded in his chest. His body was drenched in sweat. It was just a dream, but it felt so real. He sat up, gasping for air, the words of the voice still ringing in his ears. "What did you do with the wealth you were given?" Tears filled his eyes. For the first time in years, he felt something he hadn't felt before: fear. Not the fear of losing his wealth, but the fear of standing before Allah with empty hands. He rushed to his desk, grabbing his phone. His first call was to an orphanage, his second to a masjid in need of funding. That morning, for the first time in his life, he gave. And as he gave, he felt something even his millions had never given him: peace. Because wealth was never meant to be hoarded. It was a test. And for the first time, Rayan finally understood. Indeed, wealth and children are but an adornment of the worldly life. But the enduring good deeds are better to your Lord for reward and better for one's hope. Quran 18:46.